So hey guys, today we're talking about some of my favorite cards I think are kind of cool, like either maybe conceptually or just how they are. So just first off, we're going to go with Ninja in general. So there's no particular order. This isn't like a tier list or anything. We're not ranking these guys. These are just cards I enjoy, right? So we're going with the Ninja cards. So we have Maizen, Yugioh, and let's go with Geo. So the ninjas are pretty cool conceptually with how they play. They have like some issues where they stumble and where they're kind of weird. Like for example, Mitsu cannot flip up Mitsu. I mean, it can, but it won't negate, which is super weird. I mean, technically, if you were really high level, you could bluff with Ash Blossom, like set Ash Blossom, special summon Mitsu, and bluff that this negate is actually live, which is actually kind of cool, but at the same time, why can't I set Mitsu and use the negate then? That's just super awkward. But one of the really cool things about ninjas is that your ninjas will essentially never betray you, unless it's a mirror, in which case, bam. But what I mean by that is, let's say, for example, we have Big Eye. Let's say Big Eye takes control of one of your cards. Let's say maybe they take control of Geo, they take control of Yugioh or Maizen, just whatever. So if your opponent takes control of your monster by whatever means, maybe a monster reborn, who knows? None of these guys actually do anything against you, and that's pretty damn cool. Normally, if you have a lot of generics, for example, though, like if your opponent monster reborns back your Baron, this is just big trouble, you know? They'll pop one of your cards with your Baron, and then they have the Omni Negate on Baron as well, and that's pretty hard to deal with. Even with, like, for example, an Arise Heart is not as bad because Arise Heart needs 3 mats to have its effect, and you probably are fine under macro, but uh, the attach effect is actually kind of annoying, so yeah. Arise Heart can become rough pretty bad, pretty fast. But with these guys, with like your copies of Maizen and stuff, these guys are just vanillas that don't really do anything when your opponent takes them from you, and I really like that about some archetypes. So, just for example, though, I guess this isn't that important. So we have Erusian, so it's like this, maybe, maybe this. Okay, here we go. Erusian. Oh, like that. Okay. So Kairushin. Oh, this doesn't care where Umi is on the field. But you can't add a Umi or a Kairushin spell trap or 1C stealth spell trap from your deck because you don't have them. So cards like this, like boss monsters like this, I'm more a fan of this type of boss monster than like more generic stuff. Like let's go with, for example, Mirajade. Mirajade just needs to send like an extra deck monster that mentions Fallen of Albaz to do the banish. So this is already not super generic. So this is kind of on the right track, but at the same time, like, yeah, not a super big fan of like how Mirror Jade works in general. So Mirror Jade kind of falls into this category though, where if your opponent steals and you're a boss monster and they're not playing like the same kind of deck, they just can't utilize your boss monster. Like for example, with Yagura, it requires you to banish a ninja or ninjutsu art card from somewhere, and then Maizen just summons a ninja from deck. So if you don't have any ninjas in deck, you're not summoning anything. It's just a 2.5k beater. This is just like a 2k beater. And then Geo the Gravity Ninja, assuming your opponent did special summon this to flip your monsters face down. Well, they can't flip face down your Link monsters, so that's just how it is. And then if they try to flip down your like Maizens or your Yagurumaras, it doesn't hurt you too badly. You can just use them to like Yagurumaru plus one other ninja, then just simply set it, summon it, whatever, and then boom, you have another ninja now. So you could just summon back Yugioh, and that just works. So that's pretty cool. And their contact views uh, from face down is pretty cool. How does this work again? Must first be either fusion summoned or special summoned for deck attributing the above cards. I believe this counts as actually a fusion summon when contact fuse for the ninjas, right? Yeah. Because you can summon them back. Can you, actually? I think they always count as properly summoned, from what I remember. So that is properly summoning, which is confusing because it doesn't really mention just a special summon from your extra deck like that. But it doesn't mention if this special summon counts as a fusion summon. But it will mention it on, like, for example, like on Pearly cards, it mentions this as being counted as an XYZ summon here, but it doesn't mention it here, which is a little weird, but whatever. So ninjas for having pretty unique removal and interaction is great. Except for some reason, like every single ninja effect targets for some reason. So if your opponent has targeting protection, it's just like, I hope Maizen gives you lethal. That's about all you can do. You know, just work around the problem, I guess. Just attack them direct, ignore that monster. Well, yeah, cool, I guess. Everything targets a ninja, so that's not great. And then let's see. There is this. This card? Yeah, I hate this card. This card's useless. But if we were to go to Return, Return of the Zombies is one of my favorite cards. This card does not seem like super amazing until you really think about it. So, banish one zombie monster on the field, then special summon one zombie monster from the graveyard of the player who controlled it to their field in defense position. If this card is in your graveyard, you can shuffle one of your banished zombie monsters into the deck, and if you do, set this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. You can only use each effect of Return of the Zombies once per turn. So, I don't know why this is the case with Return of the Zombies, but you can use both effects of Return of the Zombies on the same turn. Some of the other zombie spell traps well, actually most of them, I believe, they don't have this, so you can only use one effect. So being like a spell, it's not like quick play, right? So you can't just use the effect to recycle on your opponent's turn, but which is awkward, right? So let's say we activate, for example, with the previous example, we have Zombie Reborn. So let's say I activate Zombie Reborn, okay? Or I even mill it. Either or doesn't super matter. When can you exactly activate Zombie Reborn? So if you mill it, you can technically activate it on turn 3 because you'll set this, and you can only use one Zombie Reborn effect per turn and only once that turn. So you won't be able to use the Zombie Reborn's actual like important effect. You can use the Recycle effect to set this, but it won't do anything for you till turn 3. And even then, the effect isn't that good for turn 3, like assuming you mill it. But let's say I just activate Zombie Reborn, okay, and now it's in the graveyard. When can I recycle this? Turn 3. Okay, then it will set itself on turn 3. Then when can I activate this card? Turn 5. Actually ridiculous how useless this makes a lot of the zombie spells. A lot of them have this kind of issue, so super unplayable. Return of the Zombies does not have this issue. So, Return of the Zombies is, of course, like a very going first card, but if we have zombie worlds, this has an insane amount of utility. So first of all, banish one zombie monster on the field. Did this mention targeting? No, it's non-targeting. Then special summon one zombie monster from the graveyard of the player who controlled it to the field in defense position. Does this target? No, that doesn't target either. So this is non-targeting Monster Reborn and non-targeting banish a zombie monster on the field. So that's like Doom King Balladrock banish, basically, which is cracked. And then non-targeting monster reborn on the same card. And this allows for you to do so much, actually. So this allows you to, for example, let's assume your opponent, I don't know, maybe they ashed you, they max siege you, doesn't super matter. Maybe you milled Ash Blossom or Maxi from the deck. Sure, you can banish whatever monster they normal summon. So let's just go with, for example, Firewall Guardian. Let's say we banish Firewall Guardian, and then we special summon a copy of, I don't know, Maxi, Ash Blossom, Joy Spring, whichever the case. And then that will be in on our opponent's field. And that's great. We just got rid of like one of their cards that could have been a problem. Or for example, I don't know what else there could be. Let's see. Let's say our opponent does normal summon Rosin and we do the same play. That's pretty devastating. Even if they have, for example, Mad Love, or not Mad Love, uh, Heavy Burger, or like Caesar Valius to tag out, they'll still lose that monster and we'll just give them like Ash Blossom Joe Spring. So that's not super great for them. And this is just not the only usage for this. So let's say, for example, we have, I don't know, maybe a Uni Zombie on field left over from our combo, and we have Doom King Balladrock in the graveyard. This can dodge Called by banishing Uni Zombie on the field. We can just special summon Doom King, and then it won't be banished off of Called by. So this dodges Called by. So we can even take this one step further instead of just Doom King. Let's say we Ash Blossom Joe Spring on Branded Fusion. Then our opponent activates Called by the Grave. We can dodge that Called by, negating their Branded Fusion with our Ash Blossom Joy Spring by special summoning it to the field. It will require us to banish a zombie monster on the field, but that is just an option we have with Return of the Zombies. And then, of course, whatever we banished off of this, we can just simply recycle that back during the same turn, put it back into the deck, and then this will set Return of the Zombies, and it's good to go. We can use this for turn 3 now. And that's just great. Turn 3, we can now Return of the Zombies once more. And of course, this has the ability to play around certain floodgates as well, which is nice. So let's say, for example, we have Baron de Flor and Zombie World on the field, which you would probably be pairing with Return of the Zombies anyway. So let's say there's Skill Drain on the field, so we will activate Baron effect as Chain Link 1, and then we will target Skill Drain, and then we can Return of the Zombies, banishing our copy of Baron to bring something else back from the graveyard. And in case we have Zombie World on the field, of course, whatever monster, like any monster in our graveyard, we can just special summon it back. Just for example, if we had Jinzo in the graveyard, we could special summon Jinzo. If we had, I don't know, Chengying or Baron, we can just bring that back with Return of the Zombies. Anything we so desire, basically, as long as it doesn't have a restriction. So yeah, we can just special summon back with Return of the Zombies, and we're just absolutely chilling. And then, let's see. We can also recycle Return of the Zombies, and we have usage for this the next turn as well. So, this card, pretty solid and pretty fun, you know? Because there's a lot of different things it can do, but realistically, it's only going to do one of those things during any given turn, right? It's not going to like do all of the different things I listed on the same turn, right? But pretty cracked that way. Let's just say, for example, our opponent has, I don't know, Chengying on the field. We can banish their Chengying with Return of the Zombies and give them, I don't know, whatever. So that just works, and that's great. So that's a card I really enjoy. And then we have Doom King Balladrock. So Doom King, one of my favorite cards. So during the standby phase, if a face-up card is in the field zone and this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon this card in defense position. So this is usually going to be paired with Zombie World. And then this will make it so every single effect being activated on the field or in the graveyard is by a zombie monster. So if a zombie monster activates the effect, does not matter from where. Next chain, if we are able to chain Doom King Balladrock, you can use the effect to either negate that effect or banish a monster from the field or graveyard. So, well, one of the funny things, of course, is that means if we get ashed, we can just negate that ash with Doom King Ballad Rock, and that's always just fine. Pretty fun. So Doom King Ballad Rock can be used as material for stuff, and he will just simply come back the next turn. So that's fun. And then banish a monster from the field or graveyard is fun as well, considering the utilization of Doom King. If I use a monster effect that I have, I can trigger Doom King Ballard Rock. And then I'll probably be using the banish effect, which is non-targeting. And then the negate effect, if my opponent activates something, I can just simply negate it if it is a zombie monster. So, pretty fun, you know, to pair this with Zombie World, Doom King Velvet Rock, you know. Pretty solid card overall. And it's just a really good boss monster, you know, design-wise. It really it gets the stuff going, you know. Except that this is like essentially all you have with Zombie World, which is just sad. So even for like Kyryushin, they have like the jellyfish, for example, and some other stuff, but with Zombie World, yeah. This is about mostly what we have. I guess Jacobolin is also here, it exists. So what's cool about Jacobolin is Jacobolin can special summon a zombie monster from either graveyard. So notably we can do from our opponent's graveyard, and then that monster will be banished when it leaves the field, so we're pretty like hard stealing it. Like more so than some other cards, like, I don't know, let's just say for example with Mikanko. Mikanko also has like some kind of steely effects, like with Reflection Rondo and Nini the Mirror Mikanko. So not only do we just get to keep the monster that we special summon, because there's a condition to it, you know, so that makes sense, I guess. But if they were to out their own monster, they do not really have much of an opportunity to summon that monster back. Just so, for example, let's say we're going to use the example Sword Soul again, because why not, I guess. So let's say we summon back Sword Soul, Sinister, Sovereign, Qixing Longwan? I don't know. So we summon this guy back, he'll be banished when he leaves the field. I guess Adhara can kind of put him back in the extra deck, but that's about it. But this prevents you from using Sword Soul Sacred Summit to special summon back Sinister Longwan here, Evil Longwan, yep. You cannot summon him back because he is banished. So pretty simple, but like pretty cool with Jacobolin here. And Jacobolin can do this essentially every single turn, just banishing itself and then taking one of our opponent's monsters, and then it'll summon back. And we can only activate this effect during our opponent's main phase, which is a bit weird, but you know, it is what it is, I guess. But overall, a pretty cool effect. So then there is, let's see. So yeah, these are some of my favorite cards. And let's see what else we're missing. I think I'm getting some really good ones here. So yeah. Oh yeah, Thunder Dragons are pretty cool in some sorts of ways, but I don't know. So Thunder Dragons, notably, let's see. They have a lot of recycling that makes it pretty interesting. So with Thunder Dragons, you have like quite a resource loop, so that's intriguing. But like in general, I just wish things were designed like more like Ninja. So if you were to, for example, I don't know, let's say you have Change of Heart. If my boss monster is stolen, I would much prefer like a boss monster, like, well, at least to have more boss monsters like this, where if our opponent just steals our boss monster, it just becomes a useless body that does nothing. Like, for example, if I'm playing ninjas, go ahead, Change of Heart, anything. You can take my, I don't know, just whatever, because I can still tribute it for Dancing Leaves anyways. and I'm perfectly content, you know? This is just a ninja monster or a face-down defense position monster on the field. So even if you take my, I don't know, Hanzo, for example, for whatever reason, maybe you want to try XYZ with it, I don't know. I can still send Hanzo and that'll be cool, you know? Changes nothing. I was going to probably send this with Dancing Leaves anyways. So that's great. And then, yeah. Ninja Shadow Mosquito counts as a ninja. I don't know why. I felt like mentioning this, but, you know, it's a ninja card. So technically, you could fusion summon using this. As weird as that is. And then, oh, actually, yeah, I remember. Great card. So, Bamboozling Gossip Shadow actually is a pretty fun card. So, once per turn, when an opponent's monster activate its effect, quick effect, you can detach 2 materials from this card. The activated effect becomes both players draw 1 card. You can target one other number XYZ monster you control, attach this card to it as material. So, mostly focusing on the first effect here. This is soft once per turn. And both players will just draw a card, and it's when your opponent's monster activates its effect. So this activates as a pseudo negate. So, for example, if my opponent were to attempt to, I don't know, activate a card effect to do whatever, they still get to keep their monster, but the effect will be changed. And this is a pretty fun type of effect because this actually bypasses some kinds of protection as well. So, for example, if we have a magical meltdown, or we have branded lost or anything like that, that prevents your effects from being negated. Your effect was not negated, it was changed to an entirely different effect. So effects like this, I think, are kind of fun as well. But I mean, in terms of monsters that do this that are good, there aren't that many. So we have like Durendal, but I don't think there's like a single good rank 5 deck that I can even think of. I've never seen this like summoned ever. Like, yeah, I've never seen like any of these guys get summoned pretty much, except for like these two. For the most part, yeah. Rank 5 deck? I don't think that exists, does it? Well, not like a good one at least. But anyways, Grendel has this effect, so it changes the effect for the monster effect to be destroy 1 spell trap card your opponent controls. So this is fun, pretty niche, and it complicates the game state in a fun way, in my opinion. So more cards like this would be more fun, in my opinion. So Bamboozling Gossip Shadow, of course, its most known usage is just being giving Rongo Miniad 5 materials. Well, I'd say that's not Bamboozling Gossip Shadow's fault. So a lot of the time in one of my older builds, you would see me make Bamboozling Gossip Shadow to deal with any potential hand traps my opponent might have. Most notably Nibiru. I can use Gossip Shadow to prevent Nibiru from rolling me, and I can just combo. So I just ended up getting Nibiru left and right, left, right, and center after Gossip Shadow got banned, and that was just super upsetting to me because there was nothing that could fill the niche that Bamboozling Gossip Shadow fulfilled for me. A close card was Cicada King. So Cicada King has like a negate effect, but this won't negate Nibiru, so it's useless. Yeah, that's just how it goes, right? So this just did nothing for me essentially. Did this attach onto itself? I was just wondering, but the answer seems to be yes. Anyways, the fact that Bamboozling Gossip Shadow has is pretty unique, pretty fun, and drawing 1 card allows you for extension, but it still has the risk of your opponent drawing into a nasty card, like maybe perhaps a badly timed top decked Ash Blossom, perhaps that can somewhat hurt. But I mean, there's a risk and a payoff for this card, but it's still valuable. So that's what I like about Gossip Shadow. And Artifact Durendal, it just has a fairly unique effect, so just change monster effects I think are generally pretty fun. So for example, we also have Dark World, so the new Rafa here. This has a pretty fun effect as well. So, uh, if your opponent activates either a monster effect or a normal spell trap card, while you have cards in the hand, you can activate the effect to negate here. This requirement kind of sucks, but yeah, you can activate this effect. The activated effect becomes your opponent discards one card instead. So then you just discard one card, and that will trigger something. I think this kind of thing is a lot more fun than just generic negate stuff. So just changing up the way the game is played a bit so we can explore like some of the things that aren't as explored. So even with like Vanquish Soul, for example, Vanquish Soul already like it just does things that other cards already do. So this is just Mech Knight again. Destroy all other monsters in this card's column. This is just effectively uh not that good because Mech Knights kind of already do this in case you didn't realize. So we just go Mech Knight. Okay, so hey guys, look, it's me, Rosin. Oh, I can banish a Mech Knight monster from my graveyard and then target one face-up monster in this card's column, destroy it, including myself, my own monsters, or my opponent's monsters. Not as a quick effect, but you know, whatever. Same effect. And then we have Mech Knight Yellow Star. Target a spell trap in this card's column, destroy it? No way. Where have I seen this before? Pantera. And then those effects, we've already kind of had them, but these are slightly new, so slightly different. So I mean, okay, I guess. But I mean, also at the same time, hmm, column destroy. Where have I seen that before? Well, the point is that there's a good amount of those already. There's like a few more, notably like with Spriggans. We also have Spriggans fusion. So Spriggan, how spell Spriggan? That's right, Springan. Ah, so we have Springan, uh, Sprint the Iron Dash Dragon. Yep, but it's the same type of effect essentially. I mean, yeah. Even with this type of like deck, that we kind of already had this type of effect before, essentially. So most notably with like let's see, Dragon Link is just spamming out, for example, negates, just negates, and then with Mech, yeah, just negates. They're not negates that interact in an interesting way or anything, so less interesting than Vanquish Soul. But speaking of which, some other effects that Vanquish Soul have, and kind of how they work, you know. So we have, of course, we have, er, uh, well, Dust Devil's kind of unique. So Snow Devil, destroy cards, but specifically monsters on the field that your opponent control. All of them. Well, that's essentially what this kind of does, but it's a little bit worse. So, where have I seen that before? In Kid's Battle Butler. Destroy all monsters your opponent controls. But like not hard once per turn, so you would technically use this twice. Well, okay, that's kind of familiar. And then we have Reborn, Rooster, Roaster, whatever. Uh, destroy all spells and traps your opponent controls. That's also a thing, I guess, but whatever. Essentially, though, this effect and is just like the better version of Snow Devil. And then Dust Devil, I don't remember if there was anything that did something like Dust Devil did. There might be something similar. Well, there most definitely probably is. Maybe it targets instead. That's about the only difference I can see that might come up. But yeah. A lot of the negates and stuff that are showing up are casteling. At least Branded is kind of new, but It's just kind of brutal dealing with branded. If they didn't floodgate me with Ito, I could respect it a lot more. Like, yeah. So like Brightest Blazing Branded King is interesting because this negates their own cards as well as yours. So this is a little bit interesting. And then Quem actually is kind of just annoying to me. I'm not sure right now how I'm feeling about Quem. But technically Quem can do a lot of things actually. So Quem can special summon back a monster that mentions Fallen of Albaz somewhere. So this allows you to special summon back Mirror Jade, but this can also special summon back Despian Quiritis, for example, if you really want to. This can also summon back Tri Brigade Kit. This can summon back uh, a lot of monsters, actually. Anything that mentions Fallen of Albaz. And that's pretty intriguing. And it can send a lot of different monsters. And the timing of when you do this can be changed depending on the setup you have for it. So in that regard, this is a somewhat interesting card. So if I were to like, for example, uh, well, uh, send I don't know a Fallen of Albaz, I can also like assuming I have a Fallen of Albaz in the graveyard, I have the option of using Mirror Jade's effect to trigger Clem, and then bring back Fallen of Albaz itself, right? And then that would allow me to use Fallen of Albaz effect to fusion summon using my opponent's monsters. So that's pretty neat, I guess, to an extent. But I mean, for the most part, what this is being used for right now is probably just to be setting up like Ito. Just this dumps like branded fusion or something like that, like branded fusion, branded retribution, whatever. And then that sets up branded fusion, and you're trying to just set up essentially the new card, whatever it was called, whatever. I don't know why this says start getting protection, but I'll be on the Sanctifier Dragon, and then uh, they just summon Ito to your field, or the Gimmick Puppet, and it's about the same, whatever they summon. And it's just miserable in that regard. And yeah, that's about it for that. So yeah, I think there were other cards I meant to mention, but I can't remember them off the top of my head. Probably should have written it down, but yeah, I guess that's all I got for you guys today, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.